Welcome back to Razmafzar TV. I'm really happy to have Bede back on our channel. Hi, Bede. How are you doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good. Thanks a lot, Bede. Today, we are going to talk about really imperial level. It's our imperial collection, Chinese, which the French people took from China and brought them back in France in the 19th century, sorry. But you know what it means, I'm sure, right?
Sack of the summer palace kind of stuff, yeah.
You know that story, right? So they come from there. Exactly. We all know this story. Without getting involved into politics, that's where they come from. With Bede on this channel, we already talked about these, not all of them, but some of them. But back then I told Bede, when I go to Paris again, I told him I was going to take better pictures, and that's why I did it. So then we are going to talk about it. It gives us maybe better angles, because back then we didn't have very good pictures, right? Old technology and so. So let me just go ahead, and I think Bede and I both share something. We all love all cultures, but I don't know why, I really love Chinese arms and armor, especially the high quality one, of course, high quality.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
They're magnificent. Many people don't know, because many people only see some low quality Chinese arms and armor, right? They don't know what China can offer. Unbelievable. Really. China has an excellent technology, right? So, Bede, look at these two swords, please.
Look like Jian, double-edged swords. Really beautiful workmanship on the metal fittings.
Yes.
Really exceptionally good.
Yeah.
Those pommels, which are matching by the looks of things, are I can't remember seeing any quite like that before. This is top-notch stuff. Jian, as swords in the Qing dynasty when these were made, or even in the Ming dynasty for earlier ones, had stopped being military swords.
Yes.
These were kind of court swords or gentlemen's swords.
Yes.
And you know, you can see, I mean, the sword loop on the lower one, that's quite common with Chinese swords, because they sometimes would drop the sword on the loop to use their bow or something like that for cavalry, and it was just easier than putting it back in the scabbard. And in fact, bow cases often had a ring on them to slip a sword into if you're in a hurry and you want to get your bow out or something like that. Even the shapes on the scabbards are really nicely designed. This is the kind of attention to detail. Outside of these really important collections, you don't see as much of it. I mean, clearly there are quite a few high quality swords in Western collections, but they're not as heavily promoted as, say, Japanese swords or even things like Keris from Indonesia, which has got a very high profile in European collecting circles, because there are so many different unique types. But if you're a collector, this is like, it's a treasure trove.
Yes, it is.
But Chinese swords, often they have pattern welded blades. That was quite popular. Some of them, the steel quality in the blades is quite high. Others, it's purely there to look like a sword, because by the late Qing dynasty, swords weren't being used a lot in battle anyway. So I mean, they equipped people with swords, but it wasn't a major thing. Everybody was shooting one another, so that was the really important thing.
Yes.
No, that really nice. The silk binding on the handles on my little Ming sword up there has its original silk binding. Lasts forever.
Unbelievable, huh?
Yeah, it just
yours has it as well, right, Bede?
Yeah. It's a really, when you look at it, it's such a complex pattern of weaving in and out of the silk strips. And in the hand, it feels really good.
Bede, can you replicate that? Can you do that?
Can I replicate it?
Yeah.
Probably. You can get silk. It's not ribbon. It's too thick for ribbon, but you can get the silk itself still. And as I say, I've got one to use as a pattern, though it's Ming style. But you can. It's the same thing that the Japanese do on katanas, where you've got a fixed style of weaving to produce what they consider to be the most efficient grip. I mean, clearly, if it's made from silk, it's because you're rich and you're showing off. But on the other hand, it's designed to work.
Yeah.
Because among the Chinese in particular, weapons are not inherently prestigious. Their prestige comes from who owned them or their history, rather than the fact, this is a sword and swords are magic or whatever. I mean, bows had a higher prestige level because going way back, they're associated with cultured people and barbarians. Odd combination, but that's how it worked out. Cultured Chinese scholars learned archery, and their neighbours were often really good archers, which they appreciated. Usually negatively, but still. They appreciated how good their neighbours were as archers. And you see it in the old character for Korean, which is the combination of the character for great and the character for bow. So big bow people. So, there's a lot of interesting cultural connections to weapons.
Yes. So we are going to talk about each one of them more. So this one, what we saw here, the first one, which means this one. A second, please. Why is it blocking again? These were. Okay. Hold on. Wait. It is again just rubbing. Hold on. Okay. Yeah. Okay, we are here.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay.
Oh,
Okay, the first one is this one with the blackish covered scabbard. The blade is Western, they say, right? The blade is Western, but the fittings, everything is from 1700 Chinese. Okay, so the blade is not Chinese. The first one.
Yeah. So that's the French transliteration of Kangxi.
Yes,
the emperor.
That's the French way of writing it. Yes. That's exactly.
Because the French have their own transliteration of Chinese.
Yes.
And before anyone makes fun of that, the English did for a long time too.
Yes.
And they were very, very resistant to when the Chinese said, "Nah, we're going to do it this way." Nobody wanted to do it.
Yes,
but
absolutely.
in the end, opinion triumphed.
Yes.
But so Kangxi, he was an incredibly successful emperor. He ruled for a really long time. He famously conducted in person a number of important campaigns. He was responsible for the suppression of the revolt of the three feudatories, which was a massive revolt by Ming generals after the conquest, because he became emperor when he was young, and they thought he wasn't strong enough to hold on to the empire, and they revolted, and he turned out to be quite strong enough. He also fought a number of Central Asian empires that were starting to form, which he suppressed. He was also a great letter writer. There's a publication of his letters, and they're really interesting. He had opinions about everything. They used to import mammoth ivory from Siberia, And there's in one of his letters, he says, people say that these are the teeth of giant rats that live in the ice, but I think they're very old elephants. And he was right.
He says that, huh?
Yeah, he was really quite. I mean, when you read his letters, you really get a feeling for an intelligent, curious man, despite being emperor. And he is very much aware of people flattering him, and you see it in the letters. Such and said, I did this wonderful thing. It wasn't that wonderful, anyone could have done it. But they say that because I'm the emperor, and it's really interesting to see somebody who was self-aware enough to be aware that people are always going to tell him how wonderful he is.
So this is again, we have no better close-up picture. Look at this, guys. Fittings, everything is Chinese, guys. Everything.
Yeah. The quality of the metalwork is superb. But again, we're getting a much closer look at the binding on the handle and see how intricate it is. And
that's the reason I told you I am going to get good pictures. Last time we didn't have such quality, right?
Yeah. You see the disc guard on that too. It's pierced. It's gilded.
Yeah.
Really top level stuff.
Top level. Do you like the pommel? Look at this, Pete. How beautiful it is.
These pommels, I don't even recognize the. You can see the design features are clearly Chinese.
Yeah.
But it's not like anything I've ever seen before. It's like, two squirrels sitting on top of a tree or something like that. It's really quite unique. I'm sure somebody more knowledgeable than me could actually tell you exactly what that symbolism is in that shape. Because the Chinese didn't just throw things together. There was always a kind of meaning, and then there's a meaning underneath the meaning, and there's a meaning underneath that, because they loved punning, they loved plays on words, and even in poetry and things like that, there's such a lively approach to dealing with. This is just basic design, metalwork design, but it's really quite amazing.
Yes. And we go to the next one. Oh, no, the same one. I'm sorry. Look at the shape as well. Yeah.
The shape is brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah.
And the design, the features of the design are consciously archaic. When this was made, say 1700, for instance, the design features of that are from 200 or 300 BCE.
Yes.
But the Chinese were collecting old jades and old bronzes and that. And so it was like in, say, Renaissance Europe, where you would have a Roman statue or something like that, or a vase or an urn, and you were aware how old that design was. Well, the Chinese are exactly the same. And they did the same thing. They reused the designs to make modern equipment, but with that archaic feel to it. And this is a beautiful example of it. That is so well balanced as a shape. A lot of shapes kind of don't really work, but this one just stands out.
Magnificent, really breathtaking beauty. Really nice.
Yeah.
Now we go to the second sword. Now the second sword.
Yeah.
And let's see if you can see it here. Yeah. You can cut this so you can see that here, Pete. Look at this.
Yeah.
You see? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's again really high quality. I'm guessing that the two metal mounts probably originally had something to do with sword suspension, though they could be just decorative. They're really nicely done.
Yeah. Okay.
They're just, it's just this kind of intricate metalwork. So we're looking at repoussé and chasing and whatever to get the full effect. This could be solid gold or gilt bronze.
Yes, I think it's gilt bronze as far as I remember.
Yeah. Gilt bronze is much tougher. Yeah.
Yes. Look at this. This one is pierced. This one not.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah, it's the second one is an entirely different type of disc guard. And,
Yes.
and in fact, to be honest, it's a rare type. I don't think I've seen, even in the Imperial collections, many like that. I've got my book of imperial weapons.
Did
And
you know where they took them from, right? These things, we talked about in the beginning, right?
yeah.
The French, yes, exactly. So very good, because they provide us with lots of information, be it, right? These type of things.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is, I'm guessing most of this stuff came out of the Summer Palace.
Yes.
Yuan Ming Yuan, or Yuan Ming Yuan. And this was a great treasury of art and weapons and all kinds of things. And during the various wars, the Europeans, when they captured it, they carried off everything.
Yeah.
There was some Australians there, and we managed to carry off an enormous bronze statue of Guan Yin, which is in one of our museums. And I mean, you would have needed a wagon to carry it. It's a little bit shorter than life size, but it's a beautiful piece of casting. And you kind of look. People had no shame. They would steal anything, and it didn't matter whether it was nailed down or not. They'd take the floor with it if they had to.
Yes.
And 19th century explorers were just as bad. I think it was Albert von Lecoq actually chiseled off whole walls and packed them up and brought them back to Germany.
Yeah, of course he did. Yes.
Oh, we like this fresco. We'll take the wall. Basically, they cut the plaster off the wall and then, yeah.
Which reminds me, I think we talked about it, with our colleagues in Iran. They found a new site up into the mountains of a Sasanian king. And they found it, so it was announced. And then in Iran, they put it under protection. They don't know how and when. One day they go there. The statue, which was in the cliffs, was cut out. Huge statue, newly found. The whole thing was cut out. So what happened? They started to search, and they found it. I know I don't remember in which country, but I'm happy they sent it back. They found it. Now they put it back. So the whole idea, it was in museum. They showed it to me. So they were discussing it, the restorers, how to put it back again there, and then to restore it with period materials and so. And I just said to them, don't you want to keep it here in the museum? And they just said, why? I said, not that they're going to cut it out again. Bede, how did they cut it out and such heights and such a weight? Yeah. You know how mountainous Iran is. How did they?
Yeah, it's shocking. And the kind of like, there's no limit to what they want to steal. I mean, you'd think. I suppose the famous statue of Shapur in the cave is too big to steal. I mean, even for these guys. So, I don't even want to mention it. It might give people bad ideas. But it's shocking what was stolen. I mean, you can say, well, some of this stuff, if it had been left in China, it would have been destroyed during that Cultural Revolution. But that's really rationalization. In fact, it may not have been. In fact, it may have. You don't know. You can't say, oh, we stole this 150 years ago on the off chance that something will go wrong in the 1970s. Yeah, that's not true. You stole it because you wanted it.
Yes, of course. So, Bede, take a look at this one, and you see how beautiful this one is also.
Again, a perfect shape.
Yeah.
I really like the look of these shapes.
This one has a Chinese blade, okay? Everything is Chinese, also the blade. Yeah, just to mention that. The other one has not, and this one has also, this has a Chinese.
When you look at the Imperial collection, the weapons in the Imperial collection, they have all kinds of things from all over the world, including Chinese swords with European blades. They have Carter swords from the Crimea that got there somehow. So there's all kinds of things. We forget how cosmopolitan. Well, we're talking about 1700 for these, but 1700, 1800, there was a lot of trade going backwards and forwards. When the Tsar sent an embassy to the Chinese emperor, he would bring all kinds of things as gifts. So these would enter the imperial collections, and vice versa. I mean, you know, the emperor would give gifts in return. The Shah used to give gifts to the Tsar. The Tsar used to give gifts to the Shah. The Sultan gave gifts to the kings of Poland and the kings of Denmark. So you've got this kind of interchange of high-end, good quality stuff that goes into royal collections. And as you pointed out in many occasions, with really good provenance. We know who gave it, when it was given, where it came from.
Yes.
It's valuable for those of us who study this kind of thing to know for sure where something comes from.
Yes. Let us take a look at this, maybe, if it's... Yeah. Now we can look at this one as well. Another one.
Yeah, see, this is just such fine workmanship.
Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah.
Really lovely.
Qianlong, yeah.
Yeah. It's unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
This is what a sword should look like, you know. Really.
I think these were I mean, some of the Chinese swords I've seen, like I own two Jian type swords.
Yes.
And the older one, the blade is relatively rough. It was obviously designed for use and had a lot of use. The other one, the blade is a perfect diamond section. I mean, you know, it's a piece of really fine metalwork. So this is 1750 Qianlong.
Exactly. This one is 70-50. Everything is Chinese. The blade, fittings. The other one, blade, fitting, scabbard, handle, Chinese. The former one, blade, was European. The rest Chinese. Here, everything is Chinese. Also the blade included.
Yeah. All over the world, people like European sword blades. It's not surprising. I mean, we look at it from, we're interested in that exotic Japanese sword or that exotic Persian sword. But of course, if you're Chinese or Japanese or Persian, then exotic means European.
Yes, exactly.
So it's totally in reverse.
You know, it reminds me a bit, I don't know if we talked about it on this channel, but maybe I'll just share it. We went with my wife to Maldive Islands many years ago. And Maldive Islands, far away from here, is very expensive from Germany, right? So we were there and we were sitting there, and there were many Japanese tourists there, many. And then we started to talk to them, and the Japanese told us, "Have you been to Mallorca? Have you been to Canary Islands?" I said, "Yeah." "Yeah, wow, that's something special." I said, "It's not special. Everyone goes there. We were there multiple times. For us in Japan, that's special. Here, everyone comes to Maldives." Then I realized everything is only a question of perspective. You know that?
Yeah, everything is relative in that sense. And I think it's great because it means people appreciate things more. Yeah, obviously, if you've got to go further to see something, then it has more impact because you've spent more money, you've spent more time, all these kind of things. But yeah, I think it's wonderful.
Yes. So again, this one, let me just now we have a better. Okay, we have that one and that one next to each other. You see that we've seen that. Maybe I took so many pictures for us, you know. Yeah. Yeah,
well, you know, it's really interesting stuff. And again, I mean, if you live in France or in Europe in general, this is relatively easy to get to.
Yeah.
But not everybody knows what's in it.
Yeah.
I mean, you say Musée de l'Armée, you think, Army Museum. And you don't think of artworks like this.
No, I agree. So, and then, okay, the shapes again here. Let us now move to the next one. This is an imperial sword. Please look. During the period of
Qianlong. So this is the grandson of Kangxi.
Yes, that's right. Right. So this is made for him, for the emperor, right? 1736 to 1796. The Chinese work, 1750. Excuse me, I'm going to show it to us. Look at this bead.
Oh, this is in the Tibetan style.
Exactly. Chinese work though. Tibetan.
Yeah, no, well, obviously. But it would have had kind of, there's connotations because the Manchus, the Qing dynasty, adopted Tibetan Buddhism. So having a sword in the Tibetan style would actually have symbolic religious connotations. It's not just they did it because they like the look of Tibetan swords. This is saying something. And sometimes these are made in Beijing and they're given as gifts to the Dalai Lama or to one of his generals or whatever. So there's historically there's lots of ideas associated with these that at first sight people wouldn't think about. They wouldn't say, oh, it's Tibetan looking. Why? Well, the answer is that there's a lot of reasons.
Yes.
And often they're made in the Tibetan style too. They're not just decorated like Tibetan swords. The Tibetans had, strong metalworking traditions going back more than 1,000 years. And they combined their own natural design ideas with Indian design ideas as well, so that they're quite a rich and complex design environment for everything from ritual vessels to armor and swords and whatever.
Let me just go ahead and show you. Please, Bede. I love the handle.
Yeah, this is spectacular. They loved ray skin. I think originally sturgeon skin was quite popular because there are sturgeon in the rivers, and sturgeon has this effect. But I think in the interior, ray skin looked like sturgeon, but everybody knew it was more expensive because they had to come all the way from the coast. And because you see Tartar swords with sturgeon covered scabbards and sturgeon covered grips and things like that. So it's lots of little nuances in the design. We see the orange things are coral. Coral was highly regarded. And turquoise, again, highly regarded because it has symbolic values as well as just being beautiful. I mean, coral and turquoise are very popular in Tibetan culture. You see it in Mongolian culture as well. Whereas the Chinese themselves would have preferred jade for decorative stones because jade has lots of cultural connotations. Now, with a Tibetan-style sword like this, you can't always be sure. It can be a single-edged sword or a double-edged sword, and they look exactly the same in the scabbard until you take them out. They're usually quite thick, and they're meant in use to deliver very heavy blows.
Yes, very thick indeed. Very. Bede, look at the pommel.
Yeah, maybe it represents the wheel of existence. Or it's just a nice disc. But again, you've got alternating turquoise, coral around the circle there. Very attractive. Again, they look like jewels, but they're practical weapons as well.
Yes, absolutely. Look at the handguard, Bede. Also very nice.
Yeah, so this is a highly decorated version of a a lipped disc guard. So by lipped disc, I mean it's a flat disc and the edges are turned down to form a lip,
Yes.
which, if you were fighting, is possibly an advantage in catching the point of a sword coming in towards your hand or something like that. I think you really need to know the martial art going with the particular style to be sure whether that's really what it was used for or whether that's just a rationalization that somebody has come up with. Now here we see that decoration on the scabbard.
Yeah.
See, everything is
Unbelievable.
yeah, you've got metal binding, you've got
Yeah.
gilded bronze, I think.
Yeah.
Silver.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is spectacularly
It's
attractive stuff.
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Here we have some more.
So yeah, showing that you notice the straps are just woven silk ribbons. And they're quite thick, like they'd be 2 millimeters thick. They're not like a flat ribbon like you would tie a present up with. Really strong. The Japanese use similar things. You see them on all kinds of knives and sword suspension because high prestige people would have that. Lower prestige people, maybe it's just braided rawhide or something like that. So it's quite a wide range of materials used for straps, and the level of the owner of the weapon is reflected in the quality of the material used for the straps. Clearly, anyone who owned a sword was a favourite of the emperor or like high in the Tibetan government or something like that. This wasn't. Ordinary people just didn't carry things like this.
No, God, no. No, definitely not. Okay, now, last time I didn't have pictures of that. Only I said I'm going to do that. Look at this, please. It's a saber. It's made somehow in a European style, but it's Chinese. Everything is Chinese, right?
Okay.
You see that? First is... Can you look at the...
I've just got the label at the moment.
Yeah, only the label. It looks like this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yes, yes.
You see that?
It's almost like a French hanger, except all the workmanship is Chinese.
All is Chinese. Look at the blade. It's so funny. It's wonderful.
But you see that on European hangers, like artillery officers' hangers and things like that. Never meant to be used, but they were carried into battle. But the handle is, I mean, it's clearly influenced by European swords, like the lion with the handguard coming out of it. That's clear, but it's not European. It is so Chinese.
I really love it.
Yeah, it's just charming.
Look at this. Let me see if I have. Look at this now.
Oh yeah, look at the expression on the dragon or lion or whatever it's supposed to be. It's just and a cascade of little pearls and corals coming out of its mouth. It's just imaginative.
Very nice, don't you like? I really like it.
Yeah. It's absolutely crazy.
Crazy, right?
Whimsical.